Hello and Allahu Akbar to everyone in the planet Earth. My name is Abdu'l-Baha. This is my final video in the relationship that could be projected to be existing between the concept of the Baha'i faith and the United States of America. The subject, of course, is wide and open, and everyone, says something. Some of these thoughts are useless, some of them are malicious, some of them are shoot to breeze talk. Some of them have no ground. I try to throw my fair share of understanding of what are we supposed to do. Today I'm going to be talking about a simple solution for the job creation in the United States of America for the people, for Americans. It's really amazing to me that so many politicians with such an haughtiness, such an arrogance, and sometimes also abundance of the knowledge and all that, they can actually see the problem. Problem is rather, to me, is very simple. I try to reach these campaigns and give them some ideas, but you know what that means. If you charge big money, then you're somebody. If you give them free idea, they don't listen. So I decided not to share it with them. But I'm going to be sharing it with you. So you be the judge who knows America and who thinks about it. Well, I'm a businessman, there's no doubt, but a very small, minute contractor, you could say a self-employed man, for some long times, maybe 28 years right here in Canada. So I've listened to the radios, I've always been interested about Americans, and always had this great sympathy towards them. I don't know why, it just I feel, a sense of protections to protect this nation, this people. So as a result, probably I have come up with some ideas. So the new problem that we have right now is not a serious problem, in my opinion. It's like a hay fever. It's not even a cold. In order to understand these descriptions, I'm going to have to take you back at a time, a couple years before President Obama got elected and to come. I think it was around 2007. When you hear the stories of the bad mortgages, and there was this notion that I think too big of them, the big, gigantic of these mortgage cartels, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that they were running into trouble. So at that time the problem seems to be not too big for one part, and we could see it. President Bush, of course, kind-hearted person, but irrelevant to the job and to the responsibility, alongside of his team and the rest of these guys, So they decided, I believe, some $150 billion throw it to Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, whoever. As soon as this happened, you know what happens, eh? Oh, then everybody started to say, oh, what about me, what about me, what about me? Then we heard Merrill Lynch is going into trouble. I think Citibank came and bought them. Then the story just got bigger. Now we had Lehman Brothers going down. Nobody helped them, I guess. They were just totally down. Well, the matter escalated and came to the point that AIG was going down, and the more money was just keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring, and we came, from the 4 billion owing to now what, 16 billion. Of course, this money, I don't know, it's owing or it's credit was given to this big, ginormous cartels to solve the problem. Apparently they haven't. Or some might argue that if this money was not given, it would be a lot worse than what it is right now. I believe that is the case. It would be a lot worse. However, this amount of the money has not solved the problem either. It has prevented the chaos, the disaster, but has not also given a serious solution. It's more like an Tylenol to the guy with a headache, but the effect is going to go and the headache is not gone, the source is not found. So what do? None of them are able, it seems to me, to come and give an idea how to create job. What do? So in order to understand what I'm trying to say, let me try to picture this for you in a little simpler way. Let's again go back to 2007. Right before that, there was no problem, I guess, eh? This problem was not around. There was no $16 billion owing, and we didn't have this kind of a joblessness and all that jazz. So what has happened right now compared to these days? Let's compare 2012 and to 2007. Is the number of Americans have been reduced? Are Americans, they died out? Their numbers decreased? Some famine hit them? Or the number of Americans are the same as before? What about their demand? Has it gone down? All of a sudden they're going abstinent, they don't want to buy a car, they don't want to buy a house, they don't want to buy things? Not really. The same people, same desires and same demand as before. Perhaps we lost our factories, the manufacturing plant, the tools, the machineries. Have they gone down? No. They're all intact, they're all there. What about resources? Maybe we ran out of oil, maybe we ran out of aluminum or copper or whatever we need. Have we? No. Then what has happened? If everything is the same format, what has stalled this machine? And what is the boost? Real boost. They say, boost the economy, but this boost has not really worked so far. It's still titter-tattering and going one way or other, but it's really keep needing boost. Seems the whole battery is no good no more. So, what the source of the problem was, that it just been a domino effect, was certain people were not able to pay their mortgages. That's all it starts from that point. Bear that in mind, please. They were not able to pay their mortgages to Fannie Mae, to Freddie Mac. Why is that? Is because this mortgage were given to some false credit. The guy did not have that much of a credit. He did not have that much of a power, did not have the purchase power, he did not have such income, did not have a sound jobs. So he basically got a larger payment, more than he could afford. It was walking right on the edge all the time. Yeah, and in the free enterprise, they kill each other to do anything. There's Just keep finding customers out of mosquitoes, out of flies. Just give mortgage to anything that works, they say. Just give them mortgage, not knowing what's going to happen. So, okay. They keep giving these mortgages to the people who did not have a stable economy, a stable job, and did not have the income to support it. And all they needed is one push, and all of them were out of the edge right into the valley on the mountain. They all fell down. And it started to create problems. Because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're not receiving the money to pay probably to the Federal Reserve where they borrow the money. They couldn't keep up the payment they had, and the economy was not moving. And of course the matter, just like a virus, it escalated, like cancer. It just went on, creates fear. You know, economy at a large level, it has social basis. Fear is a social thing. Once it comes into the effect, it will have, you know, economical effect. So that's basically what happened. Okay, I think everybody agrees with me in here because I did not say nothing but what was related to TV. I just rendered that to you. If you have any doubt, you can go look all over the internet. That's what it was. I'm very well, you know, familiar with the problem. But I don't understand the solution. So let's take the case of Freddie Mac. Okay, what is the problem of Freddie Mac? Freddie Mac has some 100,000 customers that they're not able to pay their mortgages. So the bank is going down. What do? We go to Freddie Mac and tell him that, no problem, Uncle Sam is here. Joe Citizen, they couldn't pay it, we pay you instead. They give him $150 billion. Didn't we do that? Yes, we did. George Bush did that. To his discredit. So, what else could have been done otherwise? Let's say, said, okay, gave us the list of these 100,000 people that are not able to pay their mortgages. We start the emergency bank on behalf of the federal government of the United States, and we say, okay guys, come right over, see us. Some of these guys, they're short $100, $200, $300 a month to pay their mortgages. Why couldn't we bail them out instead of Freddie Mac on the top? Why couldn't we say, Joe Citizen, if you're $300 short, $500 short, we know what's going on with you, don't worry about it. Uncle Sam is here for you. He's going to pay you, so you pay your mortgage because you don't want your credit to go back. If all of these 100,000 people would have been taken care of like that, wouldn't they end up paying their mortgages to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae? Therefore, there was no complaint about not receiving. We paid the money other way around. The guy says, I'm hungry, and he opens his mouth, and we shove the money down his ass. That's what we did. I thought I heard President was saying that we're always waiting for the money and the fortune trickles from the clouds. This time we're going to change things around. Let us start from the grassroots. I heard him saying something to that effect. But I didn't see the solution to be based on his philosophy. Of course, this is started from George Bush. You know, President Obama could stand here and tell me that, well, your solution was good at the time, it was not too late. I could have given some antibiotic, but the matter went on too hard, too far, I had to do surgery. He could say that. I don't know. I have to hear that. But if we were doing this at the time of Bush, when this started, couldn't we have stopped this? Very simple, isn't it? Because people have bad mortgages. So what are these people? Some of them actually have job, but they don't have credit. Good jobs, but they don't have down payment. Some of them, they're faltering the existing mortgage. Some have no down payment to pay to buy the house. There's different kinds, cases. What has happened to the economy? What is the problem and diagnostic is that people have lost their credit. I don't know, 1 million or so Americans, they do not have the same credit that they had before to buy things, to buy houses, to fix houses, to pay their mortgage. Some of them are low in the money. But it's as simple as that. Because God knows 30% of the economy, it all is related to the housing. It is the house that needs even fridge, stove, all the appliances. It's the house that needs carpet, it needs paint, it needs door, it needs lumber, it needs shingle, it needs siding. Just name it. If tomorrow people were able to go and buy houses in the United States of America, then all the factories going back to produce and people going back to work. Why can't Uncle Sam stand behind the Americans and co-sign them if they have a job but they have bad credit? If they have a good job but they have no down payment, why can't Uncle Sam have the second mortgage on these houses so people can start to buy? That's what we have to do. We have to improve the power of buying power in Americans. That's all what has happened. People are the same people that they were 7 years ago. Their numbers not gone down, or demands are not gone down. One thing has been down. Their credit is gone. They do not have good credit. So you tell me, if we were helping people, or start to do right now, to say all those who are about to lose their house or they're short, we're going to set the office and we're going to subsidize. Uncle Sam is going to do that. We're going to bail you out, the taxpayer. We're not going to bail the ginormous guys on the town, because they're made out of you. You are the one feeding them. If you are okay, you're the brick, you're the building block, then the whole building does not falter down. So, and see who wants to buy the house, but he can't because he doesn't have credit. All these Americans, you want to wait this economy to be fixed? It takes more than 7 years to get rid of this bad credit so people are eligible to buy again. You're going to wait all that long? Or the government of the United States, like a father, for the first time, they're going to do something nationally, where all have been busy in the universal problem of the world, come down here and forget these big boys on the top and come down and help the individuals. Let them to have their credit. Let use their Uncle Sam's credit as a co-signer. Then they're able. As soon as they start to buy the houses, people are going back to work because the production line is going up again. All these factories and everything else. And once those guys goes up, these people who have second mortgage from you, they need not to take it from you, get it from you anymore. If you can't accept this concept, you don't understand it, you deserve to be where you are. If America have any argument over this, I'm a small, minute guy. I put all my life down on the gamble of this and take them on the TV, right there, with any one of these members of Congress, senators, president, candidate, economists, bankers. I'll tell them this is the solution. If you are paying the big boxes to these guys on the top because these guys on the bottom they couldn't pay, why don't you pay the money to these guys on the bottom so they can pay themselves to the guys on the top? Now you're giving all the money to the guys on the top. These guys are down on the ground. They didn't receive any money. Their credit is gone. And the guys on the top are too powerful. They use the money the way they want. It might trickle down some couple of dollars. It hasn't yet. Otherwise the problem would have been solved. So, those who don't have credit, they have jobs. Subsidize their credit. Be their creditors. Be their guarantor. Not creditor, but be their guarantor to sign for them. If they fail, we'll pay for it. And those needed down payments. They even have credit, but they need down payments. Give them money. Government of the United States, give them money. Let them buy the houses. You got to make the housing to go on. I am not a mathematician, economist, just a man of common sense, a pragmatic. But I just challenge you to say to me that from 4 trillion, now you're $16 trillion, that 12 trillion would not be enough to subsidize every American householder that went down. I bet you needed only half of that. And the money is not lost because you're dealing with only one individual and your money is on his house. He just doesn't have a good job yet. He's underpaid. Once they start the economy going through the houses where the engine is, where the wire has to go, where that is the battery is down in this machine, and that's the housing. You boost the housing, the power to buy houses, and then of course to buy cars. Not so much cars, but more houses. If you do this, everything will be fine. Would have been fine. All this fiasco would have not happened. I don't think you need to be Sherlock Holmes to know this. It's so real. To my amazement, whether his plan works or not, but is understandable by all these American voters, these selfish, egotistic candidates, they even don't have the brain to say this at least to people, so they can win some vote. We just did the problem upside down. We start pushing the car where we had to find out where the battery is, its housing, and who buys the houses or people, and wire them, boost them. They would all bought the houses and kept their houses, no defaulters, no credit would go bad, everything would work. That's what should have happened. You subsidize all these farmers all the time. Why didn't you subsidize the housing industries? The people, the Americans, they pay taxes to you. Why didn't you subsidize them to save their credit, to save their houses? And if you would have done that, nobody would have come down. None of these big problems you're hearing from the top would have happened, would have occurred. You see? This is why the politics doesn't work. politics in the United States has one single goal: how to get elected and stay on the job for as long as you can get. That's all it is. The whole strategy is about the guy who wants to rule you. Everything he says about you is the mimic. It's not the truth. They don't have the guts to say any of that. The only politician that seriously had the guts through all of this campaign business that I watched is Dr. Ron Paul. Whatever right or wrong it is, he had the guts to say the truth that he knew of. And I would have just bought into his truthfulness, never mind his plan. He would have thousands and thousands advisor to tell him on the top finally what is the best. Honesty, gut, bravery, gallantry. That was missing in every one of them. He had one. He took a cause that he knew was not going to win, but yet felt that message of liberty and peace, is defined. I not necessarily agree with the things that he says, but I cannot argue the fact that the man was not selfish. He's not selfish. Oh, he knew he was not going to win, but he could not subsidize the truth for just winning the office. We missed the honesty. We didn't elect the honesty. You see, whereas at the top, it's mind over matter. He has the mind, the honesty. It's the biggest things, the guts, the bravery. That is the element that is so hard to find in a president. And this gentleman is totally dismissed by Americans. I'm astounded. How could you trust the people that are selfishly, you must be blind not to know, selfishly you can see that they're trying to become president, all for themselves. None of them is risking to say one word that jeopardizes his position. Just want to dance to your tune because they want you to vote for them. And then you see somebody like Ron Paul is there. You don't see that. Even to the large extent, Santorum, just as well. And I'm not a Republican, guys, or Democrats at all. I admire greatly President Obama for a personal achievement that he has had over his life. It's definitely a great, story of inspiration for a lot of people, white and black, for the whole world. It's not solving the problem, though. That's how this problem, in my humble opinion, could have been solved. Why I know it? Because I'm a Baha'i. Because I am fed by the Master of Universe. I have immersed myself in his writing. Just companionship with his knowledge, with his great power, has fed into me to enable me to think areas that's not even written in his writing. But in reality, it's nothing but combinations of all the truth that he said. It's just mine as a reconstruction of what he says. It's like this camera is not in the nature, but really all the material is borrowed from the nature to make this camera, including the laws that govern the structure of this camera. It's all natural laws, but it's not a natural thing. My word, my saying, my things may not look like what you find in a Baha'i faith, but truly it is. You gotta search deeper than you do. We had this story of this fellow in Toronto. We had this talk about the US and China, and I told him as it is, it's a losing battle, for sure. Aldous Huxley I think, somewhere in India in the second year of university, or first year. They had a companion English reading book. There was this discussion of Aldous Huxley about the mass and the team. And he explained that mass is disorganized, has no leader, has no ideology. It's just a mass. It goes everywhere. And is powerless compared to a team, where there is a leader, where there is a philosophy, an ideology, a platform, a prime directive. And he was saying how mankind, when it forms a team, it becomes stronger than when it's a mass. Take this argument and see between US and China, who is the team, who is the mass? China is the team. Because the whole government, the whole Republic of China is nothing but a military force. The people in the United States of America, that they work in army, have more freedom than individual Chinese in China. As they call it, the Republic of China. The whole thing, the whole 1 billion is a machinery. All of it. It's like Borg ship. It assimilates anything, this power. Because everyone listens to the central power, the government. Runs the whole life of the people. Therefore, this is an advantage they have over American, where government and people, they don't give two hoots about their government. They're born in a form of mass. They're like natural. Nobody's listens. Nobody can control here or anything. So, therefore, more people are alcoholic, and they smoke drug, they smoke drinking, a lot of it. Those things are missing in China. This government has a big power. It's just like a war between the army and some peasants, volunteer peasants coming from the farm. You know, they turn their shovel into the rifle and they want to go fight the army. Of course they're going to lose. That's what I see. It's bound to lose economically. In either case, it's bad for both of them, because there shouldn't be a winner or a loser. If you destroy the China, you don't have customers, you don't have a trade partner. If they do that with US, the same problems for them. You gotta understand, all of us need it in this planet to let things to go on. But there is a way to do it. We have to evolve to a higher structure, bigger than the United States of America. This has to become a buying power, the big one, when all those Anglo-Saxon countries get together. Although it seems, according to Aldous Huxley, the mass will always get defeated by the team. But Americans are different. They are in defiance of any conventions. Look at the revolution that led to the liberations and formation of the United States of America, and their battle with their mother country, England. Who was the team? The English army, of course. Such an organized machinery was at that time. Everyone in the world would fear, this red and white suit of the British army. Who were the Americans? As George Washington, sent his letter to the committee that was running this Declaration of Independence. He says, I'm just having some farmer and peasants that have no experience, and it doesn't look like an army at all. But it has a purpose, it has a big reason, it has a great spirit. Somehow they define this story of the mass and team in American won over their mother. And the mother had to let go of the son, you see. So the strategy as it is right now, not understanding where the federal government of the United States are in its evolution, they're disintegrating, and what should to be reintegrated to, we don't understand this. We're not going to win anything over ourselves and over other people. Small unit is easier to control, of course. These states in the United States, they need a lot of independence, a lot more than what they have, because federal government really, honestly, cannot control the life of the individual, all the 300 million of them. It needs 52 government to do that. All the states' government, they have to be involved in doing that. So there's a conflict between what is supposedly to be a federal, which acts like a universal government, wasting the money of Americans and controlling the world, thanks to them, glory for the politicians, and American taxpayers are paying for it and policing the world. This is what poor Ron Paul is trying to say. That's enough. If people are trying to kill themselves and they don't understand anything, how long you're going to subsidize them? The whole war in Afghanistan is nothing but a war between the female and the male. These male big bullies, they don't want to give power and authority and freedom to their women. You need Elsa, the queen of Amazon, to create the army to put these bullies and their balls on the place. An army of the women have to put them, show to the men that you are nobody in any which way that you think you are. What are you trying to do? You're not going to solve this problem by being present there. You're not. You know, you're the sugar daddy of all these countries. You've done enough of policing. Get down. Save the part that you can save, which are traditionally, historically, has great affinity, and those are the 5 countries I said. Is the UK is your mother, okay? Canada, and Australia are your sister, the big brother, Uncle Sam. Get together, enhance the federalism that you wrongly call it federalism to a universal status and create a superstructure. Then you're going to win. As it is, you will not, because you're not understanding. You sound like the Neanderthal that they could not think their way out of the problem. And what happened to them? They got extinct. And like anywhere else in the world, you are the front runner of humanity. You have to think. There's no road to pave. You have to scout to see who talks. You hear this thing on the internet and you think this is right, take it to Ron Paul. I can participate in anything that's not political. Okay. I can come, give you ideologies, but I think it should be done. As a brother, as a Canadian, as a friend. As a neighbor, I would do that. But in this selfish, egotistic rivalry, attacking each other's, you can't see in between the light of a guy like Ron Paul. Then you deserve to get what you're getting. And I hope you don't deserve this. So on behalf of God, of the universe, and His mightiest manifestation of all, His divine majesty, the Baha'u'llah, the glory of God, I am the little envoy of Him. I'm giving you the message to save your butt. That don't say that God wasn't here and didn't tell you. Okay? It is not in the Hollywood movies. It is here. It's talking to you. I'm done with this. I will have to take some other, few other projects before the time runs out on me.